Okay, today I'm gonna be responding to this shit by this girl. Um, this is the Stardew Valley Crop 1.6 tier list. Now, I had tried to do one of these myself, but there's just not that much to say about 90% of the crops in the game. But I watched about a minute of this, and then I stopped watching because I got pissed off. So, um, we're gonna see. We're gonna see if the rest of this list is as bad as the start here.
So before we jump in, I just want to give a quick overview of the ranking criteria. Profit is a big deal. We'll be accounting for seed costs, revenue from the crop on its own, and how much processing affects the profits. Farming
Okay.
experience will be important too. Ideally, good crops are going to level up our farming skill. Processing and harvesting efficiency is important for
Now, is she gonna consider profit for the point in the game that you get it? Is something that I'm curious about. We'll see here.
time management. For example, having once a week harvests versus a daily harvest will be a time saver, and since processing scales with crop value, you'll usually make a lot more gold per day by processing more expensive produce.
Depends what you're doing, I suppose.
Do the crops have any other uses other than just making money? I'm talking gifts, bundles, quests, and who knows, maybe they boost some other moneymakers. Availability is important too. Picking up seeds at the store is easy, but what if they aren't available in the first year or require unlocking new locations? Or if they can only be found by digging them up randomly?
Accounting for availability, very smart decision here.
And of course, are there any other limitations that make them annoying to use? I'm going to show some stats for each crop, including harvest times, crop sell prices, and long term profits of selling raw crops and experience gained. Of course, processed
She's leaving her
product
ancient
profits are
fruits.
very
Dude, you're
important
just
too,
leaving an
but
ancient
all
fruit.
the
What are you
different
doing?
methods and effects of
You just left
fertilizers
one.
make it
It's
difficult
all
to
gonna be
know
out of
all
sync,
of the
dude.
possibilities.
Oh, thank
But
God.
don't worry, all of those
She
things
missed it
add up
again!
to the
Oh
ranking
my
score.
God!
All right, now let's get into the
Holy
list.
shit!
There is a
She has no clue what she's doing here, bro. She has no clue.
lot to cover, so I'll try to go quick, especially on
Is
the
this
really
really all
confusing
the crops in the entire game? That's crazy. I guess that's a lot.
crops. We'll go by season to start and then add some of these special ones after that. First up, spring.
I guess she doesn't have like bananas and stuff. That's fair.
Blue jazz. We're starting out strong with this one. It's a flower, so it can't be processed, and it's an inventory hog because of all of the
True.
color variations. On top
True.
of that, the value and farming experience gained are really low. It
True.
can be used in making lucky lunches, but that's really all that it has going for it. It can't
Okay.
replace the value of honey from
Okay.
nearby bee
Whoa. I didn't even know I could speed it up like that.
houses, but you're still better off making mead.
Okay, so first of all, why the fuck would you ever make mead for any reason? Put anything else in your fucking keg and just sell the honey. I don't know why you're assuming that you have 20 billion kegs. By the point in the game that you have 20 billion kegs, you also have 20 billion star fruit. So, really, most of this shit doesn't matter at that point. I don't know why you would ever. So, off to a bad start, assuming you have 20 million kegs. Um, but this blue jazz is used for the lucky lunch recipe, so it's gotta be at least like A tier,
Overall,
right? B
blue
tier?
jazz is going to get a D.
D tier, okay. The most important fucking recipe in the entire game, the lucky lunch recipe. Literally the only flower you give a fuck about unless you're like trying to marry Penny or Haley. It's the most important flower in the whole game, dude. How are you gonna give it a D tier? If I see a single flower other than maybe Fairy Rose higher than Blue Jazz, then clearly you have no fucking clue what you're doing in life.
Cauliflower, a classic spring crop, but by the numbers, it's pretty bad. It takes a long time to grow, and it's not great for making money or leveling up your farming experience.
It's
You'll
good
want
for
at
money.
least one for the spring crops bundle, and you might get a quest involving a cauliflower, so it's not a bad idea to keep a couple around for that. But
You
if
definitely get a quest for one cauliflower from Jody. It's one of those set ones that never run out of time. So you at least need two.
you get a gold
Dumbass.
star cauliflower, it might be worth saving since it's a pretty easy top tier addition to the luau potluck soup.
True. You do need a gold star cauliflower every single time. Very true.
Otherwise, it's pretty weak and there are better options. Even in the spring, it gets a C.
C's okay.
Garlic. Garlic is not a good moneymaker, and the farming experience
Yeah.
is decent, but garlic isn't available until year 2, so it is kind of late in the game. Growing a
Mm-hmm.
garlic plant plant is required for a quest on Ginger Island, but outside of that and perfection, it's not super useful. As much as it hurts my Italian heart to say, I give this a D. Kale.
Okay.
This is similar to garlic.
I mean, it is a 4-day growth thing, which is something to keep in mind. It's one of the shortest. I think they're better than parsnips for that, and I think they're better than wheat, but of course you can just mill the wheat, even if you're not wanting to make beer. Of course, I don't think she's going to account for any of that, but if you don't have a mill and you want something that grows in 4 days, I think garlic that's like the use for it, but tea isn't bad.
For raw price and
It's pretty niche.
experience, but it is available right away in year one. It takes a bit longer to grow.
Hold on,
so
what
the
you say
high
here?
value perks, but it is available right away.
Hold on.
This is similar to garlic for raw price and experience, but it is available right away in year one. It takes a bit longer to grow, so the high value per crop makes them scale better with processing too. They require scythe to harvest, so that is a little annoying, but not enough to pull it out.
How is that annoying?
C category. Parsnip.
I don't understand how that's annoying.
You will start out with parsnip seeds in your farmhouse, so they may very well be the first thing that you grow. Unfortunately, they are really bad for making money and just bad for farming experience. They can be requested for quests, so you may want to keep a couple around for that. You'll also need at least one for the spring crops bundle, and you might want to try to get 5 gold star parsnips for the quality crops bundle, either because the alternatives are worth a lot more, or because you don't want to chance it with crop quality RNG later. Even with their use in the bundles and quests, I just can't see getting any use of these beyond what's absolutely necessary. I have to give these guys a D.
I would kind of disagree here, because you can buy so many early on within your first couple days. I would say that shouldn't be discounted. They're also, other than for the kids, they're like a universal liked gift, loved gift for Pam. Keep a gold one for her birthday. I believe her birthday is pretty early on. You know, I would give it a C personally, but they're really not good for money once you account for the seed price.
Potatoes are basically a leveled up version of the parsnip. They take a bit longer, make better money, give better experience, and you may get a quest for one, and they're also used in the spring crops bundle. While not a great crop overall, it's not too bad for spring in year one, so they do get a C. Rhubarb.
They're so good for money early on, I'd give them a B. Probably the best for money early on. They give good XP, they don't grow too slow. Not a terrible placement, but I wouldn't really agree with that. Okay.
This one is interesting. In its raw form, it's actually kind of like a slow version of a potato with similar numbers for profits and experience. One major difference is that it is classified as a fruit. That, in addition to the higher per crop value, makes it scale much better with keg processing. Still, the seeds are only available at the Oasis store and maybe the traveling cart, so you probably aren't growing any in year one outside of the greenhouse. For that, this is another one that gets thrown into the C bin.
Okay.
This is kind of
garbage.
An even worse version of the blue jazz. It
completely
shares all
worthless.
the issues of the other flowers, but it really doesn't have much purpose otherwise.
Love to gift for Evelyn.
Gift by Evelyn and
Love gift for Evelyn.
So
Everyone knows.
Passive aggressively hate George, you can give them to Evelyn, knowing that she'll put them in a vase around the house, and George will have to see them every day. At 20 gold per bulb, they are a pretty cheap way of getting gifts or food, but with all the color variations, inventory becomes a
Parsnips are better for that. Why didn't you account for that? Yeah, okay. So by your own metric, parsnips should be way higher. They're the same price. They're the same price, and you can just carry around a whole stack of them. Way easier. What are you talking about?
Starting in year 2, but you'll probably get them in year 1, dropping from various sources. The profits and experience gained from these is atrocious. Making any appreciable money necessitates building a mill on the farm, and even then, these probably aren't worth it. The one upside to these is that they count as irrigated if they're placed within 3 tiles of a water source, like a pond or river. If you find any of these, you can throw them by a pond and forget about them until it's harvest time, where you can get a little bit of extra farming experience. I like the idea of irrigated crops, but these are just so bad I couldn't justify ever buying the seeds.
Well, yeah, you don't buy the fucking seeds. You don't buy the fucking seeds. You find a billion of them. They're actually, once you're not accounting for the fucking seed price, they're okay for money. They're basically just free farming XP early on.
Get a solid F.
That's
Carrots.
retarded.
Carrots are a newer crop that
C tier at least. It's free. You don't even have to water it. Put it next to a lake and get free money and XP. It's free. You find them for free. You don't have to water them. They're the lowest effort crop in the entire fucking game.
were introduced in Update 1.6. These seeds can't be bought, but they can be found by digging up seed spots or a variety of other sources. When it comes to money and farming experience, they actually turn out to be one of the best crops that you can plant in the spring of our first year. They can also be fed to your horse to increase its speed by 0.
So why the fuck are you... These sell for like the same price. Why aren't you giving anything to fucking rice? Rice is also free, motherfucker. Are you stupid? What's wrong with you?
Or for the full day.
You have to water these.
Despite having a limited supply based on RNG, these still beat out most other spring crops, and we're going to put it at a solid B.
Why would you not mention that they're like the best shit for energy possible? It's like their main use. It's like an S tier crop. What are you doing? 3-day growth? What are you doing?
Coffee. This one is a little complicated. Coffee is a multi-season, multi-harvest crop, so if you can get a seed, your plant will grow from spring all the way through summer. The produce is coffee beans, which are seeds, and you can keep propagating these into more plants each harvest. The difficulty lies in getting the first coffee bean. You can sometimes pick one up for a whopping 2,500 gold from the traveling cart. I've gone this route before, and I think there are probably better ways to spend your money. The alternative is getting one of them to drop from dust sprites. The drop rate is 1%, so it's not exactly common, but it is pretty easy to farm dust sprites, which is also a great way of getting coal. If you can get your hands on a coffee bean, it's definitely worth planting. They're on par with the best spring crop for raw daily gold.
So you're accounting for these being dropped for free from monsters, not the fucking rice? What's wrong with you?
And they aren't a bad source of farming experience, especially when you factor in a second growing season. If these were more consistently available at the beginning of spring year 1, I would probably bump these up a rank, but as is, we're going to put them at a B.
Oh, come on. They give you fucking coffee. She didn't even talk about that. Why the fuck would they give you coffee? It's the cheapest way to get coffee, other than the Java ring, which you'll never get. This is a fucking A tier at least.
Green beans are another multi-harvest crop. They're on par with cauliflower for profit and experience, although they would have more of an advantage in the greenhouse or on Ginger Island with the frequent additional harvests. One is needed for the spring crops, but
Why would you ever put green beans on the fucking greenhouse? They're like the shittiest crop ever.
want at least one. Unfortunately, they are trellis crops,
Why the fuck isn't she accounting for... Okay, no, regrowth is on here.
which means that you can't walk through them. They're a decent spring crop,
True.
but not a standout in the grand scheme of things, so
Yeah, they kind of
these get
suck.
a C. And the last one on our spring...
I give them like a D tier. You know what really sucks? Is you want to plant one as soon as possible so you can finish the spring crops bundle in time for strawberry seeds. But it's very likely you won't have... Well, in fact, it's pretty much guaranteed you won't have a scarecrow for them. And it just really sucks having your shitty trellis crop get eaten, because if you're not planting them on the first of the year, then that 10-day growth period makes them even worse. And the seeds aren't very cheap either.
crops list is the strawberry. It's another multi-harvest crop, and it is by far the best spring crop for long-term profits and farming experience. Unfortunately, the earliest that you can get strawberry seeds is the Egg Festival, which takes place on spring 13. Strawberries are so good that they are still one of the best crops for spring, even as a multi-harvest crop that only has 15 days to grow. It would normally get 2 harvests, but with some speed grow, you can get 3 harvests before the end of the season. These really start to shine if you can grow them for full seasons or even more with multi-season growing in the greenhouse. The limited availability of the seeds is a real problem though. If you don't save seeds or fruits to go in the seed maker, then you are doomed to repeat the partial season growth of year 1.
Okay, then save them.
If you do save seeds, that means you're sitting on cash for 3 seasons that could have been put to work in other ways.
You really don't have to save that many. You get a lot from seed makers.
Despite the seed issues, it is one of the best crops there is, and if you can work around that, it definitely earned its place as an A.
Come on, man. It's like the best fucking thing for spring. It's S tier easily. It's your easiest source of early money. What are you talking about? A tier. It's also a loved gift for Demetrius and the girl. You know the one. 2 character love gift that you can get gold qualities of pretty easily. It's nice. S tier,
That is
easy.
it for the spring crops, so let's move on to summer. Melon. We're starting off with pretty good profits and decent farming experience. As a higher value fruit, the melon scales really well with keg processing. It's used in the Summer Crop Bundle and the Quality Crops Bundle. It will also be a quest item for at least one quest in the summer. You'll almost definitely want to grow a decent amount of melons in your first year. For that, we'll give it a B. Poppy. Our first summer flower, the poppy is anything but impressive in terms of raw value versus its seed price. It beats out a lot of spring crops, but it can't be processed, so you probably won't be growing these just to sell. The farming experience is actually pretty good, so nothing to complain about there. The real value of these actually comes from planting them next to bee houses. A mature poppy flower within range of a bee house will boost the value of the honey to 380 gold without professions. This means that the honey is more valuable than the mead that it would make in a keg. Honey can be a big moneymaker, and taking processing out of the
No, it can't.
equation can really simplify things, or at least leave your kegs open for other processing. On its own, the poppy is nothing special, but the value that it adds to the honey can really have an impact. For me, this bumps it up to a B.
That's fucking dumb as shit. It's like a C tier at best. Who in summer 1 is getting a fucking bee house empire going for poppy honey? It's like an okay crop. It's like a C.
Radish. Radishes would be a competitive crop in the spring, but in summer, there are just better options. It's relatively low value, so it doesn't scale very well with processing. It can be a random help wanted request, but other than that, there's really nothing to write home about. This gets a solid C.
Yeah, okay.
Red cabbage. The red cabbage has good money making potential and good farming experience. It's required for a community center bundle as well. Unfortunately, it's not available for purchase until year 2. The high crop value scales well with processing, and it's definitely worthwhile when you can get the seeds. Until year 2, you may just want to keep your eye out at the traveling cart. This gets a solid B.
Okay.
Starfruit. Once you unlock the desert, you can buy starfruit seeds there for 400 gold. It's pretty steep, but it is for good reason. The starfruit has the second best short-term return on investment of all crops, even after that hefty seed price. It is the highest value fruit that can be processed, which means it has the best scaling when turned into wine in a keg. It also earns really good farming experience. Being locked behind the desert means that not everyone will be growing these in their first summer. Still, they are one of the best crops there is as a single harvest crop. It scales really well long-term in the greenhouse with speed grow, assuming that you're making it into wine. This one slides pretty easily into the S tier for me.
Yeah, you fucking better.
Summer Spangle. This is another flower
As far as I'm concerned, there's only 2 S tiers.
that doesn't have much going for it. It's not as good as the poppy for honey, and it's not good for much else other than gifts. This is going straight into the F tier.
Yep.
Sunflower. Yet another flower.
Garbage.
This one is a bit of a special case. The seeds are expensive, the flower isn't super valuable, and the sunflower honey is not the best either. It does have a couple things going for it though. On harvest, it drops seeds, which on average are enough to replant all that you've harvested. This makes them decently profitable since you only have to buy seeds once. They are also
Who's
a
doing that,
multi-season
though?
crop, so you can keep going through them till the end of fall. One particular use for these is to bridge the gap with your bee houses. By planting these at the right time, you can make sunflower honey after your other summer flowers die and before your fall flowers can mature. It's not exactly a staple crop, but I think these are good enough to earn a C.
I'll give it that. I'll give it that if you want to like really go hard on honey. C's fine for that purpose. I hadn't considered that because I don't bother.
Wheat. As a crop, wheat is pretty bad for both value and experience. It can be processed into beer, which makes decent money, but there are better options. Did I mention that you need a scythe to harvest it? Ugh.
Who
It's another
cares?
multi-season crop, so I'd say that one of the best uses is for preserving fertilizer between seasons. I cannot give this any higher than a
What's
D.
wrong with you? Fucking mill it. It's like a 90 gold profit if you fucking mill it. What the fuck is wrong with you? Shortest crop growth, multi-season, gives you hay. That doesn't really matter, but it's kind of nice. What's wrong with you? It's like a C tier at least. For me, it's like a B tier because I really value the short growth time.
Blueberry. Blueberries are the third highest money making crop in summer based on raw produce sell price, assuming coffee is either already growing or you've found some beans to plant by then. It takes 13 days to grow until the first harvest, which, even with the 4-day regrowth time, really limits how many harvests you'll get in a season. This means that a single season farming experience is going to be pretty low too. Standard speed grow will get an extra harvest if planted on the first day of the season, and it may be worth it given that each harvest will net you at least 3 berries. The 2 additional berries will always be normal quality, and their base price is only 50 gold, so a higher throughput processing method like a dehydrator may be the best choice. When planted in a greenhouse, you can mitigate the long initial growth time, and blueberries will have one of the highest outputs of raw crop value in terms of gold per day per plant, only trailing 3 others that we'll talk about in a bit. You'll probably want at least 1 blueberry for a community center donation, but otherwise, there may be better options to plant in your first summer. Still, the gold output is great, especially as a long-term crop, so these will get an A.
Blueberries really feel like they were made for the dehydrator. I know they weren't, but the only other thing I would add is their nice filler for jelly if you don't have a whole lot else.
Corn. Corn is another multi-season, multi-harvest crop which lasts through fall. That's good because it'll need all the help it can get with a long 14-day growth period and 4 days for regrowth. The seeds are not cheap and the corn does not sell for a lot either, so single season gold output is pretty bad. This gets better in later seasons, either the fall or in the greenhouse, but it still gets beat out by a lot of alternatives. It's used in the fall crop bundle and the quality crop bundle, so it makes sense to plant enough to get at least 5 gold star corn harvests. Corn is one of the few plants that can make money by processing with the seed maker and selling the seeds. This is on
True.
par with making them into pickles in a preserves jar without the artisan profession, but at a much higher rate given the 20-minute processing time of the seed maker. Overall, corn starts out pretty bad, but it gets good enough in an additional season to get a C.
She hasn't really considered alternate uses for things very much at all so far, so I'm not even sure why she mentioned it. But you need these to make tortillas, which you need for lucky lunches. So I would consider them. It's necessary to have like 1. I always just put 1 in the greenhouse, usually in like a little garden pot. Um, for the fact that it's fucking necessary, I would give it a begrudgingly. I would make it an A tier.
Hops. Of all of the crops in the game, I think that hops are the
Controversial.
closest to what I would call broken. Hops take 11 days until the first harvest, but after that, they regrow every day. The base price of hops is only 25 gold, but even with that, selling the raw crops is still pretty good. On top of that, they have the highest farming experience in the game for both single season and multi-season growth. That alone is good enough reason to give these a high ranking, but we haven't gotten to the best part yet. Even processing in a preserves jar, these do really well for gold per plant, but processing them in a keg has a crazy value multiplier, turning the 25 gold hop into a 300 gold pale ale. Just think of how high your friendship will get with Pam. In all seriousness, this is the highest output for any crop on a per plant basis through
You
keg
also need one for requests for Pam. I don't know why she's not bringing that up.
and the turnaround time is only about a day and a half to get the final product. It's your money, use it when you need it. This means that even with a harvest every day, you should only need 1.5 kegs per plant on average. The biggest downside is probably one of the biggest upsides. Harvesting daily and keeping up with cycling through processing equipment can become tedious, but honestly, it is so worth it, especially early in the game. I don't blame you if you switch to something lower maintenance later, but it is really hard to beat hops. Wait a second, these are trellis crop. Oh, this ruins everything. These are useless. I give them an F. Just kidding. You may have to use just a tiny bit of foresight when it comes to setting these up, but they do
I
get
guess
a
there's
very
3. I
solid
guess
S
I agree with
rating
that
from
being
me.
S.
Hot
I want a
pepper.
fucking beer.
The
My life
multi-harvest
sucks.
hot pepper plant is pretty good for gold output and farming experience. It will be used on the summer crops bundle and at least one quest, so you'll want a few on hand in your first summer. It's good, but not great. There are better options out there if you're just looking at the numbers, so this does get a B.
Why the fuck is that in B? That's like the same reasoning she gave for everything else being a C tier.
Tomato. Much like the hot pepper, tomatoes are multi-harvest crops that are decent for golden experience. They're also used in the summer crops bundle and can be a quest request. So just like the hot pepper, these get a B. Summer
Why?
squash.
Why? They're like okay. It's like C tier. They're like whatever. They're like who fucking cares?
By the numbers, the summer squash is another crop that is very similar to the hot pepper. The crop was added in update 1.6, so by default there are no quests or bundles unless you do the remixed bundles. The seeds for these can't be bought at the store, but they are available through various methods. Despite being less consistent, you'll probably stumble across at least a few seeds, and they fit right next to the hot peppers and tomatoes in the B tier.
Why? The thing that fucking sucks about them is you never have an even amount for your sprinklers. It's just like really inconvenient and kind of shitty. It's like C tier.
All right, we've made it through summer, so let's take a look at the fall crops. Amaranth. This is another crop with really similar numbers to the tomato. It is a quest item in fall, so it is good to get at least one growing. It requires a scythe to harvest, so that's not ideal, but this
Why?
makes the cut.
You have
for
given
the
no
B
fucking
tier.
reason for that. What's wrong with you?
Artichoke. The artichoke
They're
is
also really good money per crop for a vegetable. So if you want to put them, if you want juices instead of wines so you can run through things faster, they're not a bad option. And they're also just good for jellies or being pickled rather, I suppose.
very similar to Amaranth, nothing too exciting beyond the possibility to be a quest item starting in year 2. It's another B. Beet. Can you believe it? It's another middle-of-the-road crop, just like the previous 5. This seed is only available at the Oasis in the desert, though. It will be used in the Mysterious Key quest, so you probably want to
She's
grow
not
it
even going to mention
eventually.
the milling.
The seed is pretty cheap for how much experience and money you get, so if you're just trying to churn through crops, it's a pretty low investment. It's another B.
I mean, it still should be a B tier, but it's better to get sugar out of it. Like, I think even if it's gold quality, it's still better to get sugar. I mean, if you have a mill, you might as well.
Bok choy. Bok choy has mid to low profits, but high farming experience and a relatively quick harvest time of 4 days. It's good for leveling up, especially if you need to fill in at the end of a season when many other crops won't finish growing in time. That extra utility does make up for the lower value, so this one gets, wait for it, a B. Fairy Rose. Okay, it's another flower, so don't expect anything special when it comes to making money. The seeds are expensive, take up a lot of inventory space, and they're slow to grow, taking 12 days to mature. The real benefit of these, like the poppy, comes from the boost that it gives to nearby honey. Fairy Rose honey is the most expensive honey in the game, selling for 680 gold without professions. If you have any bee houses, this is probably worth your while for a single season, but it does scale really well after you've unlocked Ginger Island and can have a year-round Fairy Rose honey production. As of update 1.6, flowers in pots can affect bee houses, so that does help a bit with versatility in your setup. Fairy roses on your farm will now also increase the chance of triggering a crop fairy event. Not everybody
That's
is
weird.
getting into honey that hard, but the potential is there. For that, it gets an A.
I didn't know anything about that.
Pumpkin.
Is that even
The
true?
pumpkin is another staple crop that will be used in the fall crops bundle and can be used in the quality crops bundle. You'll want at least one for a quest item as well, but it is slow growing. The value per crop is high, which means it scales really well with processing and quality increases. The game considers the pumpkin a vegetable, so it won't do as well in a keg as a fruit. It's not
Yeah, but it
quite
goes
on
through
the
way
level of
faster.
other A-tier crops, but I'd say it's probably on the high
No,
end
that's an
of
A
B.
tier. It's like the
Sweet
fucking
gemberry.
best and non-special thing that you can get, basically. I'd say it's at least an A tier. They go through the keg so fast.
The sweet gemberry is the most valuable raw crop produce in the game. It's also reflected in its seed cost. The rare seed is available from the traveling cart, typically for 1,000 gold each. They take 24 days to grow, but the fruit will have a base price of 3,000 gold. Unfortunately, these can't be processed, and the tiller profession doesn't increase the value either. In addition, rare seeds, like their name implies, are rare. You probably won't ever have too many of these unless you use the seed maker, which isn't really efficient. The fact that they take so long to grow also diminishes the value a little bit. For example, there's a lot that you could do with 1,000 gold and 24 days. Even buying 10 pumpkin seeds for that same 1,000 gold would yield more gold on average 11 days sooner, while also providing a lot more farming experience. The real benefit of the sweet gemberry is mainly the efficiency of only having to till, water, and harvest one tile. The sweet gemberry can also be given to Old Master Cannoli in the secret woods to get a star drop. This is probably the real best reason to grow at least one. It's not a bad crop, but it is hard to justify unless you're just really short on space or time. I cannot give this any higher than a B.
I don't even think it's a B tier.
Damn.
It's like
It's
a C.
a more expensive potato that gives you less farming experience. It's in the fall crops bundle, but you can technically get these as drops from Dougie's in the mine as well. So you can actually probably skip growing them altogether. Like their potato cousin, they get a C. Cranberry.
Yep.
Cranberries are a multi-season crop
Okay,
similar
well,
to the
cranberries I
blueberries
care
and
about.
strawberries. You get 2 cranberries per harvest. Like other crops with multiple fruits, the second cranberry will be normal quality. Cranberry seeds are expensive, but the produce makes up for it. They come in just a bit lower than the blueberries for raw crop value, but they do so much better for farming experience. These are one of the few crops that can make a profit processing in a seed maker as well, though it won't be as good as other artisan goods. By the numbers, they are one of the best fall crops and one of the best overall crops as well. They firmly take another slot on the A tier.
Okay, good.
Broccoli.
Sucks.
Another new crop added with update 1.6, broccoli is on par with summer squash, with just a bit higher potential for profits and farming experience.
Sucks for the same reasons.
It's another multi-harvest crop with seeds that can't be bought from normal stores and will require you to find them from various sources. Otherwise, not too exciting. These will also go into the B tier.
How the fuck are you going parsnips to D tier and everything else is going in B? Eggplant sucks.
It's a mid-level multi-harvest crop. In this case, the seed cost is really cheap, so it's a good way to get a lot of output for really low investment. You'll want it for the fall crops bundle, and it can also be a quest item. This one goes into the B tier one.
Why the fuck is she putting everything in B tier? Why? Since when? It's like halfway through the video she decided to throw everything in B instead of C.
Grape.
Garbage.
Grapes are really good for a few reasons. The money-making potential is good, and the farming experience is great. With the long initial growth period of 10 days and a short regrowth of only 3 days, these also scale really well as a multi-season crop in the greenhouse. They're actually tied for third best.
Who the fuck is doing that?
Long term.
Why would you do that? Do cranberries.
Kegs and can also be dehydrated into.
Why the fuck would you put 80 gold grape in a keg?
As a treat
What's wrong with you?
Harvest output, so it can lead to a significant production increase. Their 3-day regrowth cycle actually works well in the greenhouse for synchronizing with fruit tree harvest as well. It's not going to be the best
I guess that's
for
something.
making money in there, but there is something to be said for simplifying your farming schedule. Their only downside is that they are another trellis crop, so you can't plant them as densely as other crops unless you've got Junimos taking care of all of your harvesting. Overall, it is pretty good all around and deserves to be right up there with the
Why in the fuck is... Oh my god, what is wrong with you? Dude, that's retarded.
Well,
fuck you.
Because we're getting into the home stretch. Unless
I
you
am
want
asleep.
video to fall asleep to, then dream on. Kicking off and finishing out
Oh my
winter
God.
crops, we have the powder melon. There is only one crop
It's
that grows in
there.
winter, not counting the foraging varieties. Unfortunately, it's not very good. On the bright side, it's better than nothing, which is what we had before update 1.6. Like the other crops added in 1.6, you'll have to find these seeds somewhere other than buying them at the store.
I wonder if this is even better than using winter seeds. They're so shitty that I kind of think they're not. But winter seeds are also... I have to make those. I don't find those on the floor, so... Who knows? I don't think they are better than winter seeds. I think winter seeds are still just better.
Store, so you may not be able to plant a ton of these in your first year, but if you don't have the greenhouse by winter, you'll probably be thankful for whatever you can find. I would probably give these a D if they were a summer or fall crop, but given the alternatives, the chance to do some winter farming is enough to boost these up to a C. It is time for these special fruits that don't fit into a particular season. Ancient fruit. Ancient fruit comes from ancient seeds. You'll get your first one after donating an ancient seed to the museum. After that, you can craft them from any ancient seed artifacts that you find. They take 28 days to grow to maturity and then regrow every 7 days. The good news is they grow in spring, summer, and fall. They have the second most valuable processable fruit after starfruit, but the average output will be even higher once established, unless you're using speed grow on your starfruit. Growing your ancient fruit farm will probably take a lot more seed making initially, but once they are set up in the greenhouse or Ginger Island, you'll have a permanent, low maintenance source of some of the best money making fruit in the game. Starfruit might have a little bit of a higher ceiling, but ancient fruit doesn't require replanting after each harvest, and it doesn't require speed grow, meaning it frees up the fertilizer slot for something like deluxe retaining soil if you want to ditch your sprinklers. Anyway, you get the idea. The biggest downside.
If you're doing the deluxe retaining soil, if you've unlocked that before you've got your fucking ancient seeds going, I don't know what kind of gamer you think you are. You ain't shit to me, buddy.
Is the initial availability. It's not uncommon to get at least one ancient fruit producing in fall or summer of your first year. You also can't plant these in garden pots, so no makeshift shed greenhouse filled with these. It's all upsides from there though, so we're gonna put these solidly in the S tier. Cactus. The cactus is a lot like grapes with some key differences. The fruit value is just slightly lower and the farming experience earned is the same long term.
I wonder why you can't plant them in garden pots. You can plant star fruits. What's the fucking point?
They have the same 3-day regrowth cycle, and the cactus even has the advantage of not having a trellis. Unfortunately, you won't have seeds until you reach the desert, and even then, you can't really plant them on your farm anyway. The only places that they grow are indoors in a garden pot, in the greenhouse, or on Ginger Island. In the late game, I think you could argue that these are on par with grapes and could go well in the A tier, but since they're not really usable until you likely have better options anyway, these are getting bumped down to the B tier.
They're fucking C tier at best. Okay.
Pineapple. This is kind of like ancient
Like
fruit.
who B tier implies you're kind of excited to get them. You ever excited to get cactus seeds? I don't even fucking grow them. I haven't grown them a single time since my very first farm. I only grew them then because they were novel. I thought they sucked then too.
Light, and you'll find seeds once you have access to Ginger Island. It can only be grown on the farm in summer, but by the time you get these, you'll have access to Ginger Island anyway. They too produce fruit every 7 days when mature and are really good for making gold and getting farming experience. Like ancient fruit, they are low maintenance once you get them going. By the numbers, these are probably bordering on S tier, and if you had access to them earlier, I'd probably give it to them. Unfortunately, by the time you get these, it's pretty late in game, and you're better off with ancient fruit or star fruit in most situations. They still do make a good substitute for ancient fruit if you haven't made enough seeds yet, and they are a decent alternative if you want to set up a makeshift greenhouse using garden pots and deluxe retaining soil. I will give them an A.
A's fine.
Taro tuber.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. Because I never end up growing them, but you end up with a lot for free. So you might as well just throw some down.
The taro tuber is another Ginger Island crop. It's not bad, but by the time you get it, you have access to pretty much all of the other crops, and it just doesn't stack up. The only thing that it really has going for it is that, like rice shoots, it can be irrigated by growing near water. It does make it a bit more worthwhile since you can just till some space near water and forget about it until it's ready to harvest. If you have space, it doesn't really hurt to plant these, but otherwise, I won't really bother with them unless they're needed for a quest. We're gonna give these a C.
Wait, but you also use them for the fucking trading. It's like the main point.
All right, that turned into quite the list. I know a lot of this is subjective, and it really depends a lot on how you're playing the game. So let me know. Is there anything that I missed about any of the crops that you think should change?
Yeah, you missed a lot of it, buddy.
Are there any crops that you like to grow regardless of how they rank? Let me know in the comments.
No.